Hello, it's Miss Emma. On your monster mapping on sentences, this is a good structure to use. I suggest that you laminate these are all A4 sheets, laminate them, and you've got your 4 tables. So you've got your green code level, purple code level, yellow code level, purple code level. SSP students would look at this and tell everybody this must be a purple code level monster reading piece of text. We've got the G for the J, we've got a double L. What I suggest is that you use 5 minutes of your morning speedy decoding session, which is when they first come in, and you have the tables set up, and you have these in the middle of the table in a box, laminated. You have 1 minute first of all when they've got to grab one, so they're going to follow the monster sounds, say the word, say the sentence, follow the monster sound picks, say the word, say the sentence, follow the sound picks, say the word, say the sentence, and then the last one, so here Jill must run, they have to say it in a reader's voice with expression. So they're doing it at their pace, trying to do it as quickly as they can do it. The one that they don't do quickly is the one with expression, because then we're reading it. Before that, we're decoding it. We're using monster mapping. J, it'll, Jill, st, must, run. Jill must run. Then look at the next bit. This time their eyes are looking at the actual sound picks. J, it'll, Jill, st, must, run. Jill must run. So first line, purely phonemic awareness. It's looking at the monster. What speech sound does that monster say? Let's follow those speech sounds to say the word. Then the next line, you're thinking, well, the monster, what does the monster say? Like J. There's the picture of his speech sound. In this case, it's a G. That's the picture of the speech sound in this word. J, it'll, Jill. So there we're linking it with the phonics. Now that's why they're called speech sound picks. The monster says the speech sound. What are the pictures of the speech sounds in that word? Because those pictures of the speech sounds are how we talk on paper. We just put those speech sounds that were in the air, take the pictures, put them down on paper from left to right, and that's how we talk on paper. And I'm so sorry I've left off my finger space reminders for that first line. It's a reminder, your finger space, on that first line where we've got the monsters. Although when they're more proficient, they'll follow the sounds, like at, and they know to stop because sat is a word. But if it's a long one, they don't know when to stop, and that space tells us when it's a new word, but the finger space reinforces. So this system is just logical and meaningful, mainly because of the monsters. He's an actual monster and he says a sound like the first one, monster J, he says J. And if we take a picture of that speech sound in the air, what does that picture look like? Well, look, you can see in this word it's a G. In a different word it might be a different one. And they can see all of the choices in the clouds. But for this one it's a G. In the purple code level, we use the sentence, the gentle giant giggles, to introduce this. Look at the third line. Now they're following the sound picks without any monsters in there at all. J, it'll, Jill, st, must, run. Now they're going to read it with expression, the next sentence, and they can see that exclamation mark. So they're not going to go, Jill must run. Otherwise, you know that they're not using all of the clues there. Jill must run. Jill must run. However they say it, it's got to indicate that they've recognised the exclamation mark. Then they write the sentence, because remember this is laminated. So they can write on it with a whiteboard pen and rub it off for the next person. Jill must run. And what I want for the brain, for the encoding, is that they're actually saying the speech sounds, the phonemes, as they're writing the sentence. J, it'll, Jill, st, must, run. J, it'll, Jill, st, must, run. Jill must run. By saying the speech sounds as they're doing it, it's helping them with their encoding. So we just did the decoding by following the sounds, say the words. We did the fluency, so saying it with expression, saying it quickly. And now we're encoding it as well. So this activity encompasses so much of what they need in a short period of time. And they can just get on with it on their own. So the last thing, of course, is that they think of their own comprehension questions. If you had the whole table who are working at the purple code level doing the same sheet, then of course you can ask them all to ask each other the questions that they thought of, or if it's just two of them. That's why you have them at their tables. They're decoding at their level, so all the children can get on at their level, and then they all think of the questions, and everybody who has had the same sheet can answer the same questions. So you make it a collaborative thing. And actually, once you really start getting into this, these are the things that the children, you're just directing, and the children get on with it, which means that you're not sitting with one child or two children, and it tends to be that that child is the child who's struggling. It means you can be going around and really exploring the vocab, really getting those children to extend themselves, working with the high level students, the students that really can come out with some amazing stuff. It just means that you really can spread yourselves around far more effectively, rather than ending up spending most of your time with the children who are struggling, because the code level is it's outside of their SSP code level. So here we've got those 4 SSP code levels, and everything revolves around it. But this activity is because I want you to hurry up with your decoding. I want the children to have lots of practice rapidly decoding, because we really want all the children working at blue by term 4, ideally the beginning of term 4. And the reason on this that I want the students to think of the comprehension questions, which I just don't see enough of. I see, children being asked the comprehension questions, but if you get children to actually get used to thinking of comprehension questions, their own comprehension becomes so much better. The best way to learn anything is to teach it. So those children, all the children, think of their own comprehension questions and ask it to other students and see what the other students come up with. And again, that's helping their oral language skills, their verbal intelligence. So the questions, you can prompt them. What kind of questions well, how do we know what her name is? Well, it says here, Jill must run. Jill must be her name. What is she? Why is she running? Well, the picture looks like the bus is chasing her. It doesn't look like she's chasing the bus. Something to talk about there. But the children would say, well, when I look at the picture, there's a bus there. So it must be something to do with the bus. So it's not because of the text. The text doesn't tell us why Jill must run. We've got to use our imagination, or we've got to look at the image. And as you know from term 1 of prep, I'm constantly saying, how do you know? Where did you find that information? Where is it in the text? And if it's not in the text, how did you know? So that we're getting those skills of whether it's literal, whether it's inferential, whether it's, we're really getting all those comprehension skills right at the beginning, even when their decoding is very, very basic, even when they're at the green code level and really only focusing on SAT pin. Anyway, I hope that's helpful. Now, I've had a major issue with intellectual property and what have you, with people just, downloading stuff, which is great as Dream Team members or members last year, but then just giving them out to everybody. And this is obviously a lot of hard work goes into all of this. So what we're actually going to be doing is a lot more print, a lot more handbooks of resources that you can get and you can photocopy. So yes, of course, you're going to share it with other people, but I just think people are much more respectful of property when they can actually hold it and touch it, and it's their book. So keep an eye out for the resources that we're going to be selling. What we're actually going to do, I think, is 4 files. So you'll be able to buy a file of basic resources. So your visual prompts, your sound pics, your sound pic words, your sound pic sentences, your decodable readers, your text, monster mapping, the wraps, all sorts of things that you can get as your basic code level file. And then we'll sell, which you'll get, and they'll be in little plastic wallets, which I suggest that you laminate to keep forever, and you can just build that file up. So you're building up your green code level file of resources, and every time we have new stuff that's created, you can just order it as single sheets, and then you just put them in and laminate them and put them in your file. I think that's going to be a lot safer for me, but it also gives you more scope as well, and it means it's an ongoing thing that's organized. So keep an eye out for that. I'll post about it on the Facebook page, facebook.com/speech sound pics. Another thing that I'm doing, because so many people are, once you get started with an SSP, it all makes sense. At the beginning, it's just so huge because it's a complete literacy program. So it's like, where do I get started? What do I do? Teachers, as a rule, don't like to start things without knowing what they're doing first. So when I say, just do the activities, you'll understand it, a lot of teachers go, no, that's not how I do things. So what I wanted to do was basically I'm going to have a monster routine pack that is a standalone pack, and that can also, to be honest, be used as your standalone phonemic awareness program. So if you're having to use Jolly Phonics, sound waves, Letterland, whatever, you can use the SSP Monster Routine as your phonemic awareness program to fill the gaps, because those programs, I'm sorry, but they just do not address phonemic awareness. It's as if phonemic awareness just is supposed to happen through phonics, and we know that doesn't happen for at least 20% of your students. They're still, at the end of a whole year of your phonics program, still not going to understand how to use. They might look at a letter and say the sound, but they can't use them to read, to spell, and of course then they're really, really struggling to link it up with their PM readers or anything else. So anyway, use it as your standalone phonemic awareness program, and it also means you don't have to say, we're going to drop this phonics program. It means you're going to add in this phonemic awareness program. And I'll have it on a separate website, so it's not confusing, it's really straightforward. And it also means that teachers who don't know anything about SSP could just start there and then build up into the full SSP program. And also learning support. Your children are all going to have poor phonemic awareness. It's just one of those things that if you've got children who are struggling in reading and spelling, then it's very, very unlikely that those students don't have phonemic awareness deficits. So just get the monster routine pack and Bob's your uncle. Now, the order of teaching phonics is different in every program. SSP follows the same more or less order as letters and sounds in the UK, because that's where I'm from, but all the other programs have a different teaching order. However, SSP has SATPIN at the beginning. So certainly if you're using a program that starts off with SATPIN, for example, Jolly Phonics, it means that you can start off with the monster routine before you even start your phonics. And then if you carry on, even if you just did your monster routine on the green code level with SATPIN and then stopped and carried on with your phonics program, then you've actually wired those brains with the phonemic awareness necessary for them to then make sense of that phonics program. And of course, it acts as your early identification. It's your early assessment tool. In the first few weeks of prep, you're identifying which of the students most likely to have dyslexia or most likely to have problems understanding how to translate speech sounds to the written code, how to encode, how to decode. So sspmonstermapping.com. And of course, please do use the new app. It's if you go to the App Store or Google Play, just look for SSP Monster Mapping. Now, there is a bit of a glitch. For some reason, PayPal isn't always pinging that you've paid, and then another payment screen will come up. Just let me know if that happens. Hopefully they've resolved it, but it just means PayPal isn't basically telling the app that it's been paid. So just let me know and I can deal with it straight away. It's an absolute nuisance, but hopefully it'll be resolved very quickly anyway. But the app is great for parents because it means that they can support their children at home. The children just get on with it. It's just their 4 phonics code level lessons and their high frequency word lessons and the raps and chants and what have you as well. So it just means that they can put their headphones on, listen to me, get on. They don't need you there, but obviously if you join in, that's brilliant. And it's just $20, so teachers will just pay the $20 and then load it onto every iPad in their room. So $20 for 25 odd children. Okay, have a look at the next video where I go into a little bit more depth about what that standalone phonemic awareness program looks like. And if you've got any questions, please do drop me a line.